Good grades at the same time.
Right?
Okay, don't allow them.
Yeah.
Don't allow them. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like Coach Carter type stuff, like the Coach Carter type movie. Like, you could push someone to do sports, and that's all cool and all. And heck, you may be looking at the next Usain Bolt. You might be looking at the next
True.
big time basketball player. I'm not gonna say basketball names because I know how people are with basketball. I know Usain Bolt's the fastest, and no one can argue that. So boom, that's the easiest.
Facts.
Safest answer I could say, because every other sport's so all over the place. Anyway, you could push someone to not push. You could suggest or encourage someone to pursue that kind of athletic passion or whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is this, like Tevin said, like, your body will fail on you, whether it's age, whether it's talent, whether it's just injury after injury, or whether it's just lack of skill. There is a lot. It is so hard, so hard to do something regarding that does not have to do. Heck, I was gonna say, it's hard to be an entrepreneur or anything like that, but it's even harder to get into any job within the school system, because so many people are in and out. So many people are involved in and out. So many people are given the opportunities now. A lot more people have the opportunities to do so many things nowadays compared to even 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Things have changed.
100 years ago, what opportunity? We weren't people. We'll continue.
LOL. So, anyway, so basically, if you're gonna suggest someone to do something like that, you have to think about the chances of them excelling in that. And on top of that, if you're just gonna suggest sports, mind you, like you said, if they get injured, it's game over. Especially if it's a parent suggesting someone to do that. Because if your child gets hurt, either physically or emotionally, it's done. It's game over. So you have to teach them other ways to make money with it, whether it's the school system or maybe it's a different talent, whether like singing or whatever. But you also have to realize that school is one of the probably easiest ways and safest ways to make money.
Maybe not the easiest. Maybe it's not the easiest if you're born with God-given talent, but it's the most guaranteed. The highest
guaranteed. Yes, that's a better.
It has the highest probability for success over time.
Exactly. School is literally one of the highest. It has the highest probability of being of achieving a job through that system, because you have so many people to help you out. And I'm not saying that in other fields of work or whatever, no one's gonna help you out, but just the way how the school system is structured, it's easier to go through that system and acquire certain knowledge and acquire certain skills to get you a job at the end of that journey, than going on a sports journey with just a sports journey and hope that you can be the best person, to be the best athlete out of millions of people in a different country, just one country. First you gotta be the best in your city, then you gotta be the best in your country,
division.
And in your state, province.
Division.
Oh, division, crazy. Heck, school, no, not even friend group.
Best in your friend group, best in your school, best in your division, best in your city,
bro,
best in your province, best in the country.
Do you know how many?
You know how unlikely that is.
The chances. I think someone said the chances of someone getting to the NBA is like 1 in like, I think it was under 1%. I think so,
probably,
something like that.
Probably under 0.5 of a percentage. Probably.
Honestly, like I remember I watched one video about one person who's not that big in the NBA compared to a college student who's, I guess, a pretty good college student, just playing a 1-2 scrimmage for like 30 seconds. It was a short clip. And I saw people in the comments, oh wait, but before I even say that, the NBA player was just dealing with the college student. But even though the NBA player is not quote unquote the best or nowhere near the best, heck, I think he's a bench warmer or whatever, but people in the comments were basically saying that it really shows the difference between NBA and college.
It's a whole different level.
It's a whole different level. People think that you could just work hard, go on your knees, pray, and hope that you can get to the Olympics.
Hey, prayer has power, though. Chill.
Oh, prayer. Okay,
power,
I mean, like,
you need to put in the
okay,
work. I know
not prayer, not prayer.
I know what you're saying, but
beg. Really want it. Like, I really
beg.
like no. I mean, like if you could. Like,
I'm
people
sorry,
just,
I know what you're saying. Just continue. I didn't mean to.
I know.
To do that to you.
Actually, no, that's a good idea. No, thank you for bringing it up so I can like elaborate on it. People just really think that they could just super just like ask the boss of like NBA or the Olympics or whatever, hey, can you please put me in this competition or whatever. People think that they could just kind of work really hard and then they're just going to be guaranteed in. They think they're entitled to get into it, but it's not that easy. So for you to suggest or for you to force someone to just do athletics without thinking of the possible repercussions. Yeah, it's hard to dream big and do the impossible, but you also have to be realistic with yourself. Is it worth just going with athletics and that's it? Or going with athletics, because no one said you can't do it. You can go with athletics, but also get a guaranteed job in the process, get a guaranteed education in the process, see and play around with your other options in the process. The reason why entrepreneurs are so successful is not just because they just focus on one thing, but they played around with other things. TikTok is big right now, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with TikTok right now, but TikTok is big right now. But the thing is, hey, relax. but the thing is, the reason why people, like many entrepreneurs, are not scared if TikTok goes away, it's because they've been playing around with other platforms. This is like the same thing like this. People are not just saying do TikTok and that's it. So if TikTok goes away, if you get injured, if you don't make the cut, then they have no TikTok money. They have no athletic money. But the reason why they won't be broke is because they're playing around with Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, MySpace, BBM, Pinterest, YouTube,
MySpace,
all these other things. That's why those entrepreneurs won't be broke. This is the same thing with this. Why are you just telling your kid or someone to just do athletics when they have education, when they have all these other things that they could play around with to make sure that they are not emotionally, financially unstable and God-given? If those athletics don't mess them up physically, they can still perform other kinds of jobs. Because you can still be an engineer if you unfortunately become paralyzed and you can't use your legs. There's so many jobs as an engineer, so many jobs as so many different fields of work that even if you're paralyzed from the bottom, you can still work. Even if you're something going on, you can still work, you can still find other jobs. But if you just do athletics, then it's not gonna lead that far.
If your body breaks down, you're kind of comparing it to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, they invest in multiple social platforms to kind of get their products out there, stuff like that. You're kind of comparing that to an athletics body and how if only focus on athletics, like putting all your eggs in one basket, what if the basket drops and all your eggs crack, or something like that? I don't know, whatever the analogy
Game over.
Yeah. And then the next way black people are kind of seen socially, they're kind of fetishized. There's a lot of, as you kind of touched on a bit earlier, there's a lot of, okay, what is a fetish to you? Let's backtrack, because I kind of assume people know what a fetish means. What does a fetish mean, Brian?
I've heard that word recently, and it's sparked my interest. Let's see. So I would say it's admiring a characteristic of somebody, and that's it. And what I mean by characteristic, it's something that they could provide to them, and loving and admiring that one character or a certain group of characteristics about someone, and that's it. Instead of actually loving them for who they are as a person. So, for example, I'm sure everyone has seen or everyone has heard about the quote unquote, right, of black boys providing some sort of physical value to a certain white girl, and that's all the white girl likes, just that physical value that black boy can provide, instead of actually loving the black boy for his charm or his intelligence or his whatever. You just love him for that physical aspect, and that's it. So I guess that would be my definition and case scenario of it, of just loving someone based on a certain physical, like someone likes me, someone likes Brian Osei-Boateng just because of my chest. And that's
But
it.
that's true though. Like, why else? I'm friends with you just because of your chest. Like, what else do you bring to the table? Yeah. I kind of Googled it while you were talking, looked into it a bit, and the definition is, let me just hug that. You hugged me, just the chest thing. You just had nothing to say about it. But yeah, the definition of fetish, according to Google, a form of sexual desire in which gratification is linked to an abnormal degree to a particular object, item of clothing, or part of the body. So according to that definition, the whole black people being a fetish thing would be linked to the parts of their body, for females anyway, be linked to the parts of their body that were cartoonishly amplified during the times of slavery. Because when you look at a lot of cartoons about black females during the times of slavery and sometime after, so just because slavery is legally finished does not mean that it's finished in people's hearts. People are still racist in their hearts right after slavery ended legally. If you look at the cartoons of those times and look at people of color, there are certain cartoonish features that were amplified, right? And then that kind of fed into the social opinion of black females and black men to a certain degree to this day. The things, the parts of the body to be kind of more direct that were amplified during that time for black females were the chest and the rear. Those things are cartoonishly amplified to proportions that were not accurate, obviously, you know, to be offensive. Same things with the top lip being, that lips being amplified and the head being shaped differently. All things that were amplified in an effort to make them seem less white or less human, in essence. But I digress from all that. But on the black male side, again, this is very difficult to do with just us being two black men having a conversation without any other opinions or factors being involved.
Male perspective. We're just bringing it out there, and then we're always open.
Yeah, I know that's fair, but it's hard. Okay, for me anyway. I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to fill the shoes of a female. Not even a black female, but female of a different race being attracted to black people solely because of one body part, as the description put it. And I found body part very interesting within the description. Because based on stereotypes, this conversation, based on stereotypes of black men, just like for black females, certain things have been amplified due to legend. Certain things, certain body parts of the black man have been, I don't want to say amplified because the stereotypes are correct. I'm going to be boosting my ego as a black man.
That's been you.
But they've been amplified to the stuff of legends and myth, to the point where that's the only reason that certain people are attracted to black men. Certain people are also only attracted to black men, certain groups. I don't say certain people because there's a difference between a preference and a fetish, obviously. I trust you as a responsible, intelligent audience member watching this or listening to this to know the difference. You're intelligent, I'm sure you can figure out this. We're talking about fetishes, not preferences. Another thing that is a fetish for other female groups or other male groups, why not? For black men, would also be their height, and their perceived masculinity or size, or them being, you know, big and black and all that, and that whole aspect. That's another thing that is stereotypical. That would so that's something that females of other race or males of other race would desire. Right? Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about that? Do you think you've had? You think you've had any experiences in the past, of like that happening to you? You know what I mean?
Crazy, bro. What do you think this
Bro,
is?
I choked on my spit once, and my guy puts on a mask.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
relax.
Bro, I think
Relax.
you were coughing up a storm in the last podcast.
And
Bro,
that was
whatever,
like
you know,
10
you
months
heard my
ago.
question. Take off the mask, bro. They can't hear you properly, bro. Good, okay. Now to my question. Have you personally experienced any examples of this being fetishized and being attracted to? Because and your chest could be a good example. That is included,
It could be
right?
really good.
That feeds into the stereotype of you being a big, masculine, muscular African man,
See,
right? And them only liking you for that aspect, not getting to know you as a person. That feeds into it. So if that's the case as well, please talk about that as well.
so the thing is with that, with that topic, it's very interesting. I can't really elaborate too much on it because, according to Tevin, a lot more people have said more, but I personally have not heard those remarks about.
Yeah, you don't hear it. I hear it. It's
I
not
don't
something
hear
in
it.
mind.
You hear it. I'll probably sit down with you and hear more of these. I'm just curious what these stories here, so I know if I should, just so I know what it is exactly. Side conversation. Anyway, how I feel about it. Um, I see why people, or at least who are fetishized, would continue it because it fills your ego like no
Yes.
freaking tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh my god.
That's even why I had to say that. I had to joke saying, "Oh, it's not a stereotype," because it does for
Bro.
ego. And that go. We'll talk about that after, because that goes both ways. Because negative stereotypes and positive stereotypes.
I know.
Ones that
So,
deprecate damage, and ones that feel nice, to put it anyway. That boosts
like again, like the other stereotype about the whole fetishizing about a certain body part, which is very hysterical, like Tevin said, very interesting, like he said. The one where with my chat was just it was funny because I basically transformed my physical self because I worked out. So when people notice that, initially I'm like, I'm feeling a bunch of pride because I physically molded myself. I'm like, you know what? This was skinny Brian. I don't want to be skinny Brian. I want to be big boy, strong Brian. So I basically, I breathed in a bunch of oxygen and twos, I was big boy, strong Brian. So like when people would compliment me, especially in the chest area, inside joke, like people, it would fill me with pride. It would fill me with pride, and
as it should. Big chest guy.
it would exactly.
You deserve it. You
But
deserve the pride. You work hard.
I worked hard, right? I worked hard, but as time rolled on and I heard about this fetishizing definition, I started to realize that maybe all these, and then I started to realize and look back at my conversations. I'm like, I like, what was the last time they actually like talked about my characteristics? You know,
your mental capacity, your something else other than something physical.
Like I cannot forget, and one of my friends, Asher would know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I would have this conversation with a friend. Like I told him about this story about how one of my other friends, like would ask me how did I get so strong and stuff like that, right? How did I transfer my body from grade 10 skinny to grade 11, 12 strong? And then when I would tell this friend that story about the process, the work ethic, blah, 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 as soon as I got to the chest area, the chest part of the story, I got my chest so big, they immediately like the energy level went from like 10 to over 9,000. It was ridiculous. Just because I talked about that chest. So I'm like, is the rest of the story, the process, the reason I got into this irrelevant that you just focus on the chest? Like, so that's when I really started to realize that is one body part really more important about who I am as a person? Is one body part really important about the process? Is one body part really important? Even if it's a genetic, initial, God-given body part, very hysterical and very interesting. Is that body part really important in the whole being? Like there is no being without that one body part. And there's no body part without that one being. They go hand in hand. So you can't just focus on that one body part and then forget about the whole person. the whole process, the whole soul, the whole mind, the whole heart, the whole everything. So I feel like people should start being a bit more aware about how people are supporting you, how people are actually I guess how people are supporting you, and what exactly do they support you for? Do they support you for your intelligence, your characteristics, your work ethic, your process, your reasoning, or do they just support you for this one body part or this one stack of money? Because money can be a fetishized too. Yes, it's called gold digging, but that's still a thing that you acquire that people only like about you. It's literally like this.
Object definition. Particular object, item of clothing, or body part. It's
literally think about it like this. If that one body part is vanishes the next day.
Brian's chest is flat.
Just flat chested the next day. Will people support you or love you as much as they did the day before? Like if let's say I didn't do 300 push-ups 5 times a week in Miller's class in grade 11 and 12, would I get that much love for my body? I'm so serious. I'm literally so serious. Would I? Because think about it. Every single conversation.
I mean, I would care about you less, but I don't know about everybody else.
Right? Like I'm not saying I deserve all the love in the world, or that person deserves all the love in the world. But again, I actually have to think about that. Is the chest or is a body part really that important than everything else? So really think about how and what people are supporting you for, because the last thing you want is for something to vanish one day. Just like when I don't work out and my chest gets smaller, and that's the one thing they notice. Oh my gosh, what happened to your chest? Wait, what do you mean what happened to my chest? Yeah, I didn't work out, but what about my other body parts? My arms, my legs, my abs, my everything. So you're just focusing on the chest. So I think that was probably the day. That was a red flag. When I don't work out, and then because when Miller, who gave me this chest, who gave me the balloon to breathe in all the oxygen, when Miller gave me this chest, and noticed when I wasn't working out, he noticed everything about me, every bit about how my body was getting smaller, I was getting weaker. But when other people noticed I wasn't working out, they just went straight to the chest. Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened?
Yo, girls love touching your chest so much.
Oh, okay, yes, let's move on to the next.
That's the point I was waiting for you to say. You were physically abused because of your chest.
Yeah, let's move on to the next time before I get there.
Okay, fine.
I'm actually.
I'll go into mine. It's okay. I'll go into mine. But for me personally, it's not the same thing or same level as Brian's, right? It's the only thing I could think of, the only time I could remember was maybe my skin, because my skin's just smooth.
I don't think I've ever seen you with a pimple.
I don't know what that is.
The skin is so clear, a pimple is not even in his vocabulary. That's so crazy.
I have to Google the definition after the podcast. But I think the thing that fits this definition more, and actually makes more sense to bring up, makes more sense to bring up, was, okay, there's no way for me to say this example without boasting. There is literally just you could not say you have a big chest without somebody, some way, shape, or form thinks that we're boasting and does not take this conversation in context. Right?
Bro, you can have a disclaimer and they'll still switch your words around. Just continue.
Exactly. So no matter what I say, whatever, I'm just going to jump into it.
If you want to pay just after the podcast.
Exactly, after the podcast. Yep. I'll give you my number. Call me up. Actually, I'll give you my Instagram. Don't call me. I'll be running.
So close.
The only situation I can think of was when I first came to school in grade 9. When I was what size was I? A shoe size. I was size. Yeah, you know where I'm going. I think I was size 10 or 11, and I was in grade 9, and I was 5'8". I was 5'8" with size 11 shoe.
7'6".
Right? Yeah. Oh, true. You're right. I was 5 because you were taller than me.
Shorter.
Yeah, we
man,
were the same
you're
height. And you were
5'5",
taller than me
5'5",
in grade 9.
5'6". Yeah, you were 5'5", 5'6", 5'4".
Nah, 5'6". Don't shut. 5'6", 5'6", 5'6". You're
I
going
knew
too
you're
far
4
now.
feet.
You're going too far now. You're going too far now. Oh, but yeah, right? And then, because of my small and skinny frame, I still have a pretty small and skinny frame, whatever, that's just my body, that's how my body works.
Lean.
Yeah, I know, I have a lean frame, it's whatever. I've gotten used to that. I don't ever cry about it at night. I used to though. But because of the difference in proportion in comparison to my body and my feet, it would get pointed at a lot, right? And then the whole stereotype, if your feet are big, your heart is bigger, some other maybe body part that I don't want to say because I'm going to make this podcast even more awkward because I feel really awkward having this conversation anyway.
It's already been awkward.
Your body part is connected to it to somehow be big just because your feet are big, right? That's the only example that I could actually think of in which I personally, there's a body part, as the description says, that was pointed out to be fetishized, or that was pointed out to be significant in some way, shape, or form. But as I got older, my feet, I'm size 13 right now, 12 and a half, 13. And it's not that big of a deal now. Oh my goodness, my heart. It's not that big of a deal.
Crazy.
It's not that big of a deal now because we're older. I'm 18, you're 19. We're in the age group where people are just big. We're in university. There's full-grown adults. There's 26 and 27-year-olds in my classes because there are full-grown adults around us. So it doesn't get pointed out. In that time frame when we were in high school, and it was disproportionate because, to be fair, someone at my church called me a capital L because my feet were so big, and then I was told, like, you know what a capital L, like the thing goes out.
Oh, like a literal capital L.
Capital L. Yeah.
I thought it's
that was
something.
funny. Yeah. But in that time frame when I was really short, I had a skinny frame, and then that stood out obviously. And I was wearing Air Forces, so I wasn't really helping my situation, I guess. But whatever, that's the only situation I
could think of. Tim's? Oh my gosh.
I don't need Tim's I had were size 9. I have to give them to my dad. My dad had 20. Whatever. Different conversation. But that's only from us. You know, we don't really have that many examples and that type of stuff. I don't know what's happening. We don't have that many examples of that.
Body in the background, someone screaming for their life.
Yo, that's somebody outside. I know what's happening. Hey, we live in Toronto. People die every day. It is what it is. I hope no one. I hope nothing bad's happening. It does sound like a bird, but I think it's a person whistling, like really high pitched whistle. Whatever. We're getting distracted. That's just our perspective as to I don't think out of the two of us, it's not something that we fear. People are gonna only. I think more so for you than for me. I don't think I'm
already scared.
Yeah. I don't think that, which rightly so. I don't think I've ever feared somebody's gonna fall in love with me, not for who I am, but simply because of the stereotype of I might have whatever. But I think you are more likely to actually fear that someone's gonna fall in love with your body and not fall in love with you as a person. I think that's more of a real fear for you, right? And that's the type of fetishizing that we're talking about. So I think it may relate to you more than it relates to me. But then we don't have any females on the podcast right now, so of course we can talk about other black females.
Some of them don't like that.
Yeah, I know.
Some of them don't like that.
We can only
strong,
imagine,
independent woman,
right?
Because my mom's right here, so I gotta say that. I know, because the mirror.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. You look stupid already. It's fine. So yeah, we don't have any females on. We can't give that other side of that opinion, so we're just gonna continue. That's just how we felt about it, and then the next kind of topic is kind of like failures in the court system type of thing. Failures in the court system in a sense of like kind of like social failures, less so than hard legislative and rule-based failures like we were talking about with the systemic racism. Not necessarily systems that fail, but the systems are flawed. But kind of social failures. And one social failure that's being brought up right now is the police system and defunding them, because and that's something that's being talked about a lot right now. Are you familiar with that term, that movement, what it kind of means? If you're not, I can kind of expand upon my definition.
Oh, you want me? Oh, I thought you were about
Yeah.
to talk more. I was confused.
But you want me to go first, or because I talked a lot for like the past 3 minutes, and I'm tired.
I know if you're informed about it, then I'd rather you say more than me say some nonsense. But I'll say 1 2 cents. Yeah. I'll give my 1 2 cents, of course.
Okay.
We're always waiting for the opening. So again, regarding the defunding the police situation, I'm not too informed, but I know that I'll just always preach it. This wouldn't occur if there was some sort of understanding going on and some sort of education going on. I think I saw a post that it takes a couple months. I'm not, again, bro, I don't know anything, so I might have read the wrong thing, but I'm pretty sure it takes a couple months to become some sort of officer and some sort of level than comparing to a different kind of job where it's not as daunting or crazy or like, when I mean by crazy, I mean like intensive. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Like they're comparing, like this post was comparing one job that's not as intensive, not as, life threatening, but takes a lot more to get to that point, like the lowest point of that job. A police officer, there's some form of police officer, some level of a police officer took way less time, like less than half of the time than the other job. So if that is true, and if there is some sort of training or education that goes on that allows someone to be a police officer, and that time is not being used efficiently or well, then it leads to situations like what's been happening, not just for the past couple months, but for the past hundreds of years. There needs to be some sort of better training protocol or some sort of understanding or education protocol, not just for the training, just to get them in the door. Because someone could be good coming into the door, but then turn bad, as soon as they enter the door, right? Like they could change their minds, change their beliefs halfway through the job. So there needs to be some sort of education, awareness. Like those two, education and awareness, are the two biggest things right now. If someone is not aware of how someone feels or educated on why they feel that, then they're going to continue doing what they've been doing from birth. So there needs to be some sort of education awareness going on with training and within the job daily, so they do not make the same mistakes that are going on right now. So they do not make the same mistakes that has been going on for the past couple of years, for the past hundreds of years. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say about that, really. So I don't know about the funding and money-wise, financially-wise. I need to do a lot more research on that, because I don't know if taking away money would be, or taking away certain opportunities for the police would be the best way to go. But I don't know. Again, I'm only saying this because I'm not educated enough, so I want to, get some more education about it. But I know for sure, awareness and education must go on, because in school, a teacher doesn't teach you math or science halfway, and then you go on to the next level. They teach you everything you need to know about math and science of year one. So when you go into year two, you're prepared for year two content. For the police, if you're going to be trained to take care of my life, you shouldn't have to pull me over for no reason because you felt like it, because I look suspicious. Okay, you know what? Sometimes you're human. You got to go on your instincts, right? Okay, pull me over, whatever. But to put me in that position when I'm not doing anything, no drugs, no domestic abuse, no nothing going on, no abuse of any kind, no drugs, no nothing. I'm saying I'm good, because sometimes I'm not. That whole instinct, I felt like it. I take it with a pinch of salt, because everyone has a gut feeling, right? Maybe that gut feeling is actually true one day. So I'm going to take that with a pinch of salt for that reasoning. But if you are actually there, you pull, like say Tevin over, you pull Tevin over. He says he's not doing anything good. He's not doing anything bad. He's not doing or carrying anything illegal. And he's following the law. But yeah, you're still going to put him in that scenario. How were you trained? How are you educated? How did you get to this position as a police officer? How did you get to this position in life? Thinking and believing that that's the best way to go. Even if Tevin is low-key the most wanted serial killer, like serial killer, not like killing, like human killer, serial killer on the planet, if he is technically not doing anything wrong in that moment, bad joke, I lied. If he's technically doing something bad, if he's not doing anything bad in that moment, and you have not been proven any evidence or any kind that he's doing something bad, then there's no reason to put him back in that position. So like defunding the police financially, I don't know that yet, but education and awareness daily needs to go on every single time. Some sort of code of conduct they need to believe, and they need to be tested in it. They need to be tested in it. So when they're put in these real life scenarios, they're not just halfway. They're not just doing their own thing and costing the lives of others. How are you gonna put on a uniform to serve and protect, but then you put on that same uniform to kill and judge?
But serve and protect too.
Who are we protecting?
I think they're protecting who they're meant to protect. I think they're doing what they're meant to do.
Who they believe to protect. Because why is one police officer protecting the black?
Let me explain my point. Okay, I'm gonna back up and explain my point, and then I'm gonna get into the whole defund the police thing. When I said that, I think they're protecting who they're meant to protect. As far as I know, the police system as it's currently set up, or has the foundation of policing slaves in essence. They're not only police slaves, obviously, because in 1800s, I'm sure 18 and early 19, not really early 19, 1860, whatever. I'm sure there's other crimes committed by other races of people, even if you're not black, they still police that crime. But the foundation, right, was economically beneficial for police at the time to police black people, to make sure they didn't run away, make sure they didn't leave the plantation, make sure there wasn't any uprisings, like in Haiti, shout out to Haiti. Just to keep everything calm, keep order, keep the money flowing type of thing. So I believe that if you're meant to protect a certain group of people, which wouldn't be the slaves, obviously, because you don't care about them. If you're meant to protect a certain group of people, I believe that now, since it has that foundation, they're still protecting that same group of people, because that's what they're meant to do. Right? Because it's founded in one thing. And that's more so what I think defund the police kind of means. Let me get into that real quick, because that's kind of lead into this. I think it's kind of about police reform. Reforming the system, or editing it, or revising it, or checking if anything is outdated and not in line with our current social set of morals and beliefs. Right?
That's a really good point.
That's what I took it as. That's what I think it means. And I'm also aware that there are certain police systems that are getting a lot of funding, and the funding is not bearing any fruits. Just like our high school got a lot of funding, but the funding does not necessarily bear a lot of fruit, so you wonder, where's the money going? That's what they mean by defund. You do not need all this money because you're not using all this money to do anything. Therefore, let's take some money, and maybe once we take some money that you're not using, obviously, maybe once we take some money from certain departments that you're not utilizing the money efficiently or accurately, maybe you'll learn how to use the money more efficiently, and you'll learn how to do a better job, because now the money's gone. And you want the money. Only the money's going to come back if you defund them, assuming, obviously. Only the money's going to come back if you start doing a better job and you start earning the money again. Right? Because once you take out the earning aspect and just get a certain amount of money at the end of the day for existing as a police force in a certain district, or just get money, it kind of takes away some of the onus. There's not as much effort there. When you have to earn something, you have to put in a lot more effort. You know firsthand. You have to earn something to buy something with your own money that you worked for. It's a whole different mindset when your parents bought you a gift. It's a whole different mindset, especially for me. Like whenever I buy shoes with my money, I care about it a whole lot more than the shoes that I was bought when I was a kid for my parents' money, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I took it as. That's what I kind of took it as meaning. And then whenever I read Defund the Police, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. A lot of articles kind of detailing it a lot deeper. It's kind of what I'm seeing the meaning as. Maybe some people might have meanings that are different.
Roundtable. You hear the sound. Kinggsz, you didn't know I was the best ever. My favorite number 4 because I'm forever. Roundtable gang, do you wanna be a member? We celebrate every time we come together. I would rather effort than for you to lie to me. Honestly, over someone that is trying to be someone they're not. You're still gonna lie after you're caught. I promise you, I forgive you, but I never forget.